In a wild field, lions immediately sniffed around to find a hiding place. They saw patrol vehicles, guard posts and fences but didn't fully understand their purpose. Meanwhile, at Labora National Park, two staff members, Caro, an experienced patrol driver, who regularly traveled across the savannah to monitor wildlife, and Sally, a seasoned animal observer who carefully recorded all changes in the reserve, began to notice the presence of the strange guests. Caro and Sally were surprised when they discovered large lion footprints near the central river. They decided to monitor from a distance to ensure the newly arrived pair did not encounter any mishaps. In the early days, the male lion often roared in the middle of the night to mark his territory. The female lion was not yet accustomed to the new environment and frequently moved restlessly. Caro and Sally silently observed, recording all signs of the lion's health and behavior. Although tired, the lions were still strong enough to hunt small prey such as antelopes and hares. Sally noticed that the female lion sometimes moved slowly and suspected that she might be pregnant. Caro agreed, seeing that the male lion protected her more carefully than usual. Both were nervous and hopeful because if the female lion was pregnant, it would be good news for conservation efforts. After 4 months, the signs became more obvious. The female's belly visibly grew larger, and her steps became heavier. Caro prepared basic medical equipment in the vehicle in case of emergencies, while Sally continued to follow closely, meticulously noting the female's resting and eating times, as well as the male's moods. Everyone at Labora hoped that the female lion would give birth smoothly. However, trouble arose when she had difficulty delivering. She was in pain for 2 days. Both lions moved restlessly. The female kept moaning softly, while the male paced anxiously. Caro and Sally realized the critical situation, and feared the female might die without timely help. However, it was impossible to use anesthesia on her during labor. If the male lion was sedated, the female might react violently or flee, worsening the situation. Relying on their courage and professional instincts, Caro and Sally decided to approach the lions. They drove closer, carefully watching if the male showed signs of aggression. Upon seeing the vehicle, the male lion roared loudly, his mane standing on end, eyes alert. The female lion lay in pain, barely able to move, only softly whining during contractions. Sally whispered to Caro that they had to proceed, or she might collapse at any moment. Caro slowly got out of the car, eyes never leaving the lions. Sally followed closely, carrying medical equipment including an injection to assist the birthing process. In the vast grassland, the two humans stood closer than ever to the lions. The male growled and stepped forward to protect his mate, but didn't attack. Perhaps he sensed they meant no harm, and only wanted to help. Sally gently spoke to the lioness to reassure her, while Caro stood nearby ready to retreat if necessary. Gradually, the lioness seemed to understand. Her eyes softened enough for Sally to touch her belly. Sally quickly injected a birth aid to give the lioness strength. The male lion roared softly as he approached but didn't bite. The two staff gently stepped back, waiting for the medicine to take effect. Nearly 2 hours passed with many intense contractions before finally, a tiny lion cub was born in an indescribable moment. The male lion approached and licked his cub, while the female panted, but her eyes shone with joy. Caro quietly cheered upon seeing the cub's weak cry. Sally quickly checked to ensure the cub had no serious deformities and injected a tonic to help the mother recover faster. The male lion looked back at them as if silently thanking them. Caro and Sally stepped away, giving the lion family some peaceful space. The cub struggled, but appeared healthy in its mother's arms. The lioness gently licked her baby, purring softly as a welcome. The two staff sat in the car, observing the sacred moment with hearts full of happiness. They decided to name the male lion Tano, symbolizing bravery, the female lion Lyra, symbolizing hope, and the cub Zola, meaning a new beginning. After ensuring Lyra was stable, Caro started the car while Sally kept her eyes on the family. The car slowly drove away, leaving Tano, Lyra and Zola together on a breezy afternoon. On the way back to the station, Sally wiped away tears of pride for saving a precious life. Caro smiled, saying it was an unforgettable memory in his entire career at Labora. Everyone in the reserve rejoiced when they heard Lyra had given birth safely. The next day, on patrol, Caro and Sally saw Tano and Lyra standing on a grassy slope, turning their heads to look at the car. Zola was still young, trotting at his mother's feet but occasionally looking up curiously. The male lion no longer growled at humans, as trust had been established. Sally believed Tano's family would continue living healthily under the reserve's protection. Caro marked the day of Zola's birth as an important milestone in his diary. Both were deeply moved, recalling the moment the lioness accepted their help. The story of Tano, Lyra and Zola became a testament to the power of love between humans and wild animals. Every time the patrol car appeared, the lion family turned their heads in silent gratitude. Tano growled softly, Lyra licked her cub, and Zola grew stronger day by day. The entire Labora Reserve considered this a source of pride, affirming that conservation efforts always bring miracles. Caro and Sally continued their daily work, but never forgot the unforgettable moment when they saved Lyra. They understood that every life is precious, and that humans can join hands to preserve the wild world. Time passed. Zola grew up learning to hunt with his mother and roar with his father to assert his territory. Tano remained majestic, always standing by Lyra, while Lyra was as resilient as ever, despite being a mother. Under the dawn sky, the lion family looked peaceful, a beautiful image on the green grassland. Whenever they heard the sound of Caro and Sally's vehicle, Tano would glance briefly and calmly continue his guard duty. Sally smiled, remembering the arduous journey the two lions had endured. Caro felt the lions' trust in humans, even though the boundary between nature and man remained. Thanks to their efforts, a precious life was saved, and a lion family remained intact. The story spread throughout the reserve, inspiring young animal lovers. Everyone hoped that Tano, Lyra, and Zola would continue to expand the pride in Labora in the future. Although many challenges lay ahead, faith and courage would help humans and nature coexist. When the sun set, the male lion roared loudly, a sound reminding all of the stormy days past, while Lyra and Zola continued nurturing a new life full of hope. Caro and Sally returned to the sanctuary filled with joy and satisfaction, knowing that whenever they came back, the lion family would still greet them with familiar eyes. The night wind blew through the fields, carrying the scent of wild grass and echoes of nature's music. The stars twinkled in the sky, illuminating the path the two staff had taken. There the cub Zola slept peacefully in his mother's arms, while Tano stood watch, ensuring no enemies invaded their territory. Caro and Sally's eyes still followed the family, believing their mission was complete. And so, every time the sanctuary's vehicle appeared, Tano, Lyra and Zola would turn their heads in deep gratitude.